Welcome back to another episode of Talk 21. It's your host.
With
Right.
the frog here.
Red sack.
Why'd you laugh?
Because it's hilarious. Because it's hilarious. Because
I don't know, your voice cracked a little.
All right, let's go.
Ready, you're ready.
Welcome back to another episode of Talk 21. It's your host, Sam Genova, alongside my co-host.
Hi, I'm Dave Vitti. Welcome back.
Welcome back to another episode. We got to give a shout out to Petty Fine Foods for this fantastic iced coffee, which is phenomenal.
Blood sugars are spiking really fast
Yes,
and hard right now.
But well needed on
But
a
it's,
beautiful hot day.
Didn't
Very
you say
good.
there's no sugar added?
I don't know.
Right? Didn't you say that? It's
I think-
better than an ice cap, he said.
Yeah, they revised it. The other one was a little sweeter. This one's better.
This is tasty.
This is
Very
this is
tasty.
good. Yeah, very tasty.
So, boys, interest rates.
Yes.
Can I finally buy and sell my house?
You can buy and sell your house at any time. You know, I think with these interest rates, well, it's all positive. It's all good news. Things are coming down. It's just there's a little misconception. You know,
I don't know, but I don't know if it's a misconception or just we're waiting for rates to come down. They'll never come back to where they were.
No.
So, quarter point or not, like I think you need to reevaluate the whole picture and look at everything in general to decide if it's going to make sense to you, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, rates are definitely gonna help, like curve maybe the slowdown, but I think we're pretty flat, if not still soft. It's still a buyer's market for sure.
Give me some numbers, though, guys. What does a quarter point drop mean based on, let's say, $100,000?
It's nominal. Like we're
Yeah,
talking.
I was just
like,
reading the Globe and Mail this morning. They were saying every 100,000 is $15 on a variable. So people are waiting, and there's misconception that when the
You
rates
can
come
really
down,
afford it, yeah.
you can really afford it. It's just it's people are waiting for that. Who knows when it comes back.
The only way you're gonna save a lot of money is if you're coming down like 2 full points, like it used to be when all of this started to spike.
Yeah.
Where it might make a big difference. Quarter points, in the big picture doesn't make a difference. I mean, it's the stress testing, it's all the affordability. Are you employed, or like you need to make sure there's all these other factors are good, because the rate drop is not that big of a deal. Like you got to make
So what
sure
you're saying is the biggest deal is the stress test. It's the fact
Everything.
that now
It's
people are not
everything.
eligible anymore.
that I think it's the consumer not the sorry, like what am I saying, like the being optimistic and making the move and upgrading has slowed down. Like people are not that motivated, like there's a lot of people that are like a little bit nervous, a little about uptight things. As much as inflation keeps going up, it seems like it's like a little bit of a bubble. People don't know what it's going to stay this way, what's going on, because we're trying to curve this inflation to keep things more affordable.
We've passed the worst and we're only heading in a better direction, which is more positive for consumers. It's just, I feel like people are sitting on the side. Like I have clients that are sitting on the sidelines waiting for rates to come down. And it's like, the numbers are out there now. Like if you're really waiting to save $15 per 100,000, what are we doing here? You know what I mean?
So what's your advice to someone who comes to you and says, all right, Dave, finally the rates came down. What do you think I should do? Should I pull the trigger now, or should I continue to wait for a possible next drop?
I honestly don't think drops are going to be the factor at this point in
this
game.
rate.
At this point in the game of buying and selling homes, you got to do what makes sense to you. You got to know what your risk averseness is. How do you feel with your job? Are you employed? Are you self-employed? How does the future look? I would urge people to make sure and to be conscientious about the moves they make, because it's very volatile. Things are not always on. Like we're not in a boom. Like we're not like things are a bit uncertain. We don't know what's going on with the election. The West is a disaster in general. Like with all the politics going on, like the U.S. Race for presidency is like comical. And we have our own problems up here. So in general, it's a little bit upside down. So make sure you feel confident in the move. Like leaning to an agent just for value, on opinions of value and what the future is going to hold is great, but you need to look beyond all that and say, well, what do I want? Like, do I really need this?
Okay,
And so on and so
now
forth.
that you've said that, Simon, let me jump to one thing. The condo market
Yes.
has completely flatlined,
Yes.
and the prices are so low, yet people are still not buying. Guys, what happened to the condo market?
So here-
It was booming.
So here's the thing that you got to take into consideration. There's a huge percentage of those condos that are sitting on the market. They're all one bedrooms, one bathrooms. So that market there has been decimated because there's so many out there right now. And if you're looking in that kind of market, you can pick and choose as many units as you want. Buildings, it doesn't matter. But when you're getting into 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms, it's a different story. They're still down, but they're still sought after. Where I feel like it's with the 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, smaller units that were good for the investors, that were easy to rent out, cash flow. Now those, I feel like a lot of the investors are
Yeah, I
putting
think
them back out there for sale
they're,
because
they're,
the numbers don't
then,
make sense.
And then those investors are not, even if they don't own one, it was easier to pitch an investment property to somebody before. It's more difficult now. Rates are affecting the affordability. You know, we
Maintenance.
talked about the tribunal and all the
Yeah.
getting in to deal with tenant issues is problematic. So that whole segment slowed down. So you're right. And then people just buying any real estate, even young people, the affordability is done. Like they can't afford it. So that segment of the entry level segment for like somebody that wants to leave the nest, like a son or daughter, you're trying to set them up. They're just not going to do it. They're going to stay home. They're going to stay home. It's just that everything's kind of a bit slower on that mark, right?
But there's a lot of people blaming the builders, saying that the builders put together this crap. These 1 bedroom, 1 bath, that doesn't make any sense. The layouts are terrible because at the moment where the market, everybody was buying everything, the builders said they're gonna buy this crap, and now no one is. So now what do these builders do with these condos that are basically unusable?
It's a cycle. I believe it's a cycle. I just think, like Dave said, the mindset is different right now. We're in a buyer's market, and people just don't have the confidence because those 1 bedrooms, they made sense. They always made sense because
and-
you bought them at a good price. If you're covering, depending on how much you're putting down with your maintenance and your mortgage, you knew what you can rent it out for. So it was dummy proof. But now,
No, but even aside from that, it's all about affordability.
Yeah.
Like people need to buy property and entry level.
But they've come down a lot, Dave.
No, I'm just saying, but entry level is 500 square feet, 550,
Yeah.
even 450 for a bachelor.
And-
it's not.
Levels 450?
No, I'm talking about square footage.
Oh,
So I'm saying you're saying 1 bedrooms. There's even bachelors and in New York City. These are like big condos. Like unfortunately, like in Asia, like in China, like everybody's building up. So
They're small
it's
no,
it's
no, but everyone knows what you're buying in New York.
No,
Here
but-
in Toronto, people are like, man, I'm not getting anything now.
No, but you might not be getting anything in those other countries too, and we're following suit because we're getting so many immigrants.
They have
coming
to
in.
build.
We're building stuff to accommodate even the very entry level, and so the fact of the matter, builders or not, the product's out there. It was working. People were buying this stuff and selling this stuff. Just it's a bit softer.
Yeah.
And so. It's people are. I feel like people are only making the move if they really need to make
Yeah,
the move.
absolutely.
Anybody else that is not certain, they're not making the move.
No,
That's what's going on.
they're
That's
waiting.
that's why it's kind of like a bit softer all around. And then we're in July, right? It's July, right?
August
now.
1st.
August 1st today. So basically,
The summer's here.
summer's here. People are traveling, moving around, and they're thinking even less about real estate right now, right?
So the last thing I want to say, and you brought up a good point earlier, is politics. I know we don't want to talk about politics, but you made mention to the American political presidential race that's
Yes.
happening now. Why do you think that is going to affect us?
I'm not saying it's affecting us per se indirectly on the housing market here in Ontario or on, like I'm not saying specifically that it's. I'm just saying everything's a little bit weird.
Yeah, and we kind of correlate with
and
U.S.
we
whenever it
kinda-
happens.
Yeah, when we're kind of correlating it to the West, like immigration's coming in, like people are like we're a little bit of a comedy right now, like the West in general. Whether it's the U.S. presidency or here in Canada, people are like politics is the biggest discussion, and we're kind of like a little bit of a laughing stock, right? When like people looking in, and so I'm not saying it directly correlates to buying and selling, But if you live here and you're concerned about what's going on with your country and like with the capital gains changes, these tax
And the economy.
implications, just thinking like, what are we doing? Like, we're spending all this money in taxes, this and that. Like, so it's kind of like people are just wondering, and that doesn't have anybody feel confident in even the country you're in, and which is another reason why it might be slowing down things, right? People are just concerned in general, and that's why the presidency is not a big deal per se. I mean, it will affect us if policies change like they have already with regards to the capital gains. But in general, it's just people are just not sure. Like, what's going on?
There's a
That's
lot-
the question. What is going on around here?
So the roundabout question to this episode is, guys, tell our listeners one more time. Do these interest rate drops truly affect the way that they should think about buying or selling?
No, I mean, if you're ready to buy and you're comfortable, you have a steady job, the income's good, and you're ready for it, make the move now. Don't
And
wait.
just know the costs. Know the costs, and the cost of the interest rate drop is not a big enough amount of money to slow you down from
Yeah,
buying property.
and-
If you can't afford it, when the next rate drop comes down another quarter point, you're still not going to be able to afford it. So you need to know if you can do it, irrespective of these little little rate drops, because they're not that big of a deal. There's other bigger costs. You need to worry about land transfer tax. What are your legal fees? What's your realtor charging? So on and so forth. There's a lot of other bigger variables, and then you got to understand where your confidences are. Are you going to be employed? Look at the future. Like
Yeah.
make sure you know as best you can what your future looks like, because if something doesn't happen, you have that buffer to make up for the lost income if you don't have a job or you're in between jobs. So these are the questions. The rate hike and the rate reduction is not that critical. It's very nominal monthly when it comes to the costs.
Yeah.
And on that little note, Sam, right here, where could they find you guys if they want to give you some questions and maybe give them some tips on buying and selling?
You can find me at on Instagram at Sam General Real Estate.
And I'm at info at Fine Living Realty.
Nope,
No?
that's not
Not
where
that's
we're at.
where am I again?
C21 finally.
There, C21 Fine Living.
So where are you, Dave?
I'm at C21 Fine Living Realty.
Perfect.
And we'll see them next
See you on the
time.
next one.
Thanks.